I'm a Ye stan, and I can say that these past few months have been the worst. The shame is that Ye was an in the past, but lovable one who made great art. Now he's just deranged and further folded into terrible movements, ideas by people like Tucker and Candace. Yeah, they're weaponizing him. They're weaponizing his vulnerabilities, okay? Those vulnerabilities themselves do not excuse his behavior, by the way. He is a gigantic narcissist. I mean, everybody knows this already. Surrounded by sycophants, can't shut the fuck up, and is desperately looking for any kind of attention from no matter who it is, right? And look where it got us.
Days ago, during Fashion Week in Paris, West, accompanied by his friend Candace Owens, unveiled a T-shirt that read simply, "White Lives Matter." The response from the fashion industry and international media was instantaneous and uniform. What was strikingly missing from the coverage, however, was any explanation for why West did this. What was the T-shirt about? No one seemed to think to ask him, much less to listen to what he had to say. Instead, the enemies of his ideas dismissed West, as they have for years, as mentally ill. Too crazy to take seriously. Look away, ignore him. He's a mental patient. There's nothing to see here. That was not our conclusion. In fact,
Yeah, no wonder that was not your conclusion. Because, let's be fucking real, the right does not give a shit about black people. They've never given a shit about black people. That's why they do racial agitation as a viable tool for galvanizing their base of white supremacists that are the most active within the party. And they don't give a fuck if a black man is having a mental health episode. As long as they can use that black man to advance their narrative, they're going to do it. Oh, we don't think he's crazy. Crazy? I mean, that's not crazy. I mean, look at Herschel Walker.
So you just came from Paris Fashion Week. You just landed, and you have a lanyard still on from it, and there's a photograph on it. What is that?
It's a photograph of a baby's ultrasound.
Why is that? And that you designed that?
Yes.
Why? What does that mean?
It just represents life. I'm pro-life.
Boy, so you wear it on a badge. What kind of response do you get? And good, amen, I agree.
I don't care about people's responses. I care about the fact that there's more black babies being aborted than born in New York City at this point. That 50% of black death in America is abortion. So I really don't care about people's responses. I perform for an audience of one, and that's God.
I love Tucker Carlson and his inability to hold his excitement at what the most divorced dad in America is saying on the most white supremacist broadcast, which also unfortunately happens to be the most popular news broadcast in the country. Like, he just goes,
I'm starting to see why they want to make you be quiet.
He just came in his pants, dude.
When did you start to feel this way? When did you start to realize this?
I really felt like, I think I started to really feel this need to express myself on another level when Trump was running for office, and I liked him.
Yes.
And every single person in Hollywood, from my ex-wife to my mother-in-law to my manager at that time to, you know, my so-called friends / handlers around me, told me, like, if I said that I liked Trump, that my career would be over, that my life would be over. They said stuff like people get killed for wearing a hat like that. They threatened my life. They basically said that I would be killed wearing the hat. I had someone call me last night and said anybody wearing a White Lives Matter shirt is going to be greenlit, and that means that they're going to beat them up if they wear it. And I'm like, you know, okay, green light me then.
Dude, just substitute White Lives Matter for the swastika, by the way. Like, because that is what that is. It's a white supremacist slogan. I want to fucking get to the heart of this one more time for people who have any sort of, like, confusion around this, because White Lives Matter is a slogan that was created as a counter to Black Lives Matter. It is no different than White Power, which is the slogan that was created after Black Power during the civil rights movement. It's just PR. It is propaganda from white supremacists who try to deflect away the attention from black people saying, hey, we matter. Stop killing us. That's what it is. So anyone that says that that's not the case, they're ridiculous. Now, there's varying degrees. There are people who are duped by this propaganda without recognizing that it is actually white supremacist propaganda, of course. Such is the nature of effective propaganda. But do not misunderstand that this is exactly what this is. When someone says white lives matter, they're openly stating it. He's not even saying all lives matter, by the way, which is the more Republican version of that propaganda. White Lives Matter are just straight up white supremacists. There's varying degrees of racism involved in here. Obviously, the All Lives Matter is like the more publicly acceptable version of that. Like, oh, why not All Lives Matter? Well, Black Lives Matter means all lives matter. But All Lives Matter is a silly notion when you're saying Black Lives Matter, because Black lives currently don't matter, okay? All lives don't matter until Black Lives Matter, because Black lives are a part of all lives. Do you understand? So if you're looking at someone going, hey, my house is on fire, and another guy goes, hey man, well, I lit up this candle over here, why don't we focus on all fires? Well, maybe you're being a little silly bitch, okay?
So you made reference to the White Lives Matter t-shirt, which you brought out at Paris Fashion Week.
Yeah.
Why did you do that, and what did it mean?
I do certain things from a feeling. I just channel the energy. It just feels right. A gut instinct, a connection with God, just brilliance. You know, like as if you asked like Tanya Harding how she did the triple flip or the triple spin. Yeah. She was in so much practice that when it was time for her to skate in a competitive format, it just happened. Like it happened outside of practice. It happened in the real format. And that's what's happening is God is like preparing us for the real battles. And we are in a battle with the media. Like the majority of the media has a godless agenda, and their jokes in that work.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of hard to keep up like a disruptive and cool attitude that's on brand with like Kanye West's edgy trolling when you're trying to be like, yeah, God is the reason for all this.
And this whole like, oh yeah, he's crazy and all these things, they don't work because the media has, you know, they've also watched travesties happen, just even specifically to me, and just watch it and act like it wasn't happening. And they stay quiet about it.
What if they...
Dangerous, that's a great take, by the way. Being a white supremacist isn't edgy in America, though. Exactly. But white supremacists want you to fucking make it seem like it's actually edgy to be a white supremacist. Like, ooh, no one wants you to say these things. Like, bro, Donald Trump was the fucking president. Stephen Miller was writing Mr. Turner's Diaries, was writing our immigration policy. You had Joe Biden's Customs and Border Patrol, like, whipping fucking Haitian migrants at the border with their goddamn, not like actual whips, right? With their reins. And you're still over here acting like being white supremacist is like super edgy and really crazy. Oh man, no one likes that. No man, it's coded into all of our fucking institutions.
The answer to why I wrote White Lives Matter on a shirt is because they do. It's the obvious thing.
Yeah. Why do you think that's so? And I assume the implication is, of course, all lives matter because they're lives, because God created them. Yeah. Why do you think that would be considered controversial?
Because the same people that have stripped us of our identity and labeled us as a color have told us what it means to be black. My dad grew up as a military brat. His family moved around, but they were based mostly in Delaware. If they weren't the only black family, they were one of the few. He would be discriminated against because he was black. So by the time he got into college, he would be discriminated against. He went to a black college, he would be discriminated against because they said he talked too white.
Yes.
And then he played the kick drum in the band. So when he would go to the club and the music was playing, where would he clap his hands? Where the kick drum is.
Yeah.
So it's the opposite of where everyone else was clapping their hands. And this is the most elegant and tasteful person that I know.
I'm not gonna sit here and be like, I know his dad's actual true motivations in saying white lives matter, ha ha ha, that's stating the obvious. Just because someone was a Black Panther doesn't mean that they still hold on to like a lot of the principled Maoist stances of the early Black Panthers, okay? There are plenty of Black Panthers that now work with like Rahm Emanuel and shit in Chicago, okay? Or did. It could go anyway. Kanye himself calls it that an ex-Black Panther. It's just like... There are varying degrees of discrimination that occur, but if you understand that it is discrimination towards someone who has been conditioned by a upbringing in a white supremacist country like America to behave a certain way, being discriminated by others within his community or behaving that type of way, and if you consider that to be like a slight that is so offensive, then what the fuck do you have to say about white supremacy? That's crazy to me. Like if you think one is bad, if you think that like that level of bullying is bad, then holy fuck, you must have a lot of thoughts about white supremacy then, because that's so much worse. The only people that do that as though it's like morally equivalent are actual unironic white supremacists who are trying to propagandize their existence as somehow vulnerable. And it's fucking bullshit.
Because, you know, the media ridiculed me for getting the house next door to Kim to see my children. And they even said that I was stalking her and her new boyfriend because I bought the house next door to see my children.
I mean, that was a little weird. It was a weird thing to do. But like, I was charitable in that situation, I think. And I understood that, like, obviously wanting to see your children is normal, okay? It's a normal thing. That was not normal. I don't know why he's downplaying that, okay? He's kind of downplaying his actions during that process. He's downplaying the actions that he took during that time, which included, like, you know, the simulated murder of Pete Davidson in a music video. I mean, there was a lot. Like, Pete Davidson's fucking weird, okay? He's a weird guy. I can understand why you wouldn't want your children to be influenced by him in their lives. And some of it was funny, and then it went to a not so funny place.
And that's how I knew that my mom had said that to him. I said, Dad, you know, they moved us to one of the most agreed upon to be one of the most dangerous places in the world. It's almost like they tried to kill me or something. I said, Dad, why'd you never come to get us? And that's when he told me that she was told that. You know, there's so many things that are put in Kim's head. You know, they bring influencers, like, no one ever knew where Corey Gamble came from. No one in the fashion world knows where Gabby came from.
Where did that come from? You went from people placing influence in Kim's head to Corey Gamble. Where did that come from? What the fuck? It just feels like he had like an aneurysm or something, like with two wires crossed weirdly, and he just completely flipped the conversation. Am I missing a point here? Did they cut something out?
These people were practically made in a laboratory, in my opinion. And one of the things that they're really good at doing is being nice and being likable. And what they do is, for people that have some form of influence, whether it's an educated black woman like my mother that became the head of the English department at Chicago State University, or whether it's the most influential white woman on the planet, being my ex-wife, they have people that are around them at all times telling them what to be afraid of. It's like not what to do or say specifically, it's what to be.
Whereas Kanye West has Candace Owens around him at all times, and she's certainly not telling him that. Like, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but unironically and unconditionally, the people surrounding Kim Kardashian in that circumstance are probably better overall, considering like at least some of the things that she's done with respect to like criminal justice reform and things of that nature, versus the people around Kanye West who are just like, yeah, King, do it. Do it. Blow that shit up. Blow it up. Ruin your career. You're fucking awesome. Doesn't really matter. Like, who the fuck influenced him to talk about Jewish people and stuff? You know what I mean? We know Candace has a horrible track record in that regard. Remember when she said Hitler just wanted to make Germany great? That shit was crazy. She said that. And Kanye was like, preach on it. That's so good. Mr. Samo blaming the elite's propaganda that he's fallen into, but then somewhere along there, he had someone whisper in her ear, hey, notice how a lot of the elites are Jewish? Which they're not even. There are significantly more Protestant elites than there are Jewish elites. Holy fuck. That's what's fucking so annoying about this conversation. Also, Kanye West is an elite. He's a billionaire.
A couple days later, I found out that Josh Kushner had 10% of Skims, which is a line that I had developed with Kim. And I had a lot of issues with the imagery of Skims. I felt like there's a lot of imagery that was overly sexualized and things that I wouldn't want to see.
Wait, what? Kanye West is running the fucking evangelical gamut right now. He's talking about like how he's upset about the sexualization in advertisement. What the fuck? Does Kanye West know who Kanye West is? He went nofap? Don't do it. Don't do it, Kanye. Oh my God. Wait, didn't he used to date the what's her face, the slut walk lady? Talked about eating ass and stuff. Am I misremembering? It was Amber Rose, right? Like, he's been doing this for like 4 years now. Did you just wake up from from a coma. I mean, I think it's the Kim known for not having a porno. No, I mean that part is fine, you know what I mean? But I think what's going on here, is the classic evangelical like born again line, you know what I mean? I think he's looking for salvation by hitting the I'm born again. I'm a born again Christian. I'm getting salvation through that. Yeah, I don't even know if he's trolling. I think he's just fucking lost his mind.
But it reaches another level when her business partners are selling pieces of the company that they don't have to, because the company's already so successful and it's an internet-based company. So it's like they're really just selling off the company in order to create more relationships for themselves. I found out after this dinner that Josh Kushner had 10% of Skims and I had 5% of Skims. Regardless of them putting that money in, for me to have been an owner in it and not known, just from a place as a creative where Skims is so based on a lot of the Yeezy ideas. Then it's based on all of the relationships in fashion, because I had to use my relationships in fashion in order to establish Kim in a way where fashionable people would say, hey, I'm down to wear Kim's line. And these VCs, they come in and they get a piece of it after the fact, and they run around and say they have ownership in it. So as I put on my Instagram, which, you know,
I don't get how he's not saying it's kind of fucked up that a white dude owns a larger piece of that fucking company than I do when I put my fucking actual blood, sweat, and tears into it. Like, he's got double the amount. That's capitalism. Like, in that situation, you could make a statement about white supremacy. You can make a statement about capitalism. You could say white people have more influence in this space as a consequence of, you know, white supremacy. And therefore, they end up literally fucking getting 10% of the company, a company that I put so much time and effort into, where I only got 5% of. So even my wife is engaging in this action without recognizing it. But instead, he's over here saying the exact opposite, which is weird. He's saying that at the top of the hour, there's a 60-second ad break. And if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe. Actually, I was going to say he's saying something different, but I don't even know what he's saying because he's fucking out of his mind. He's just like not really making any tangible, cohesive, coherent points, really.
And then after talking to them and really sitting with Jared and sitting with Josh and finding out other pieces of information, I was like, wow, these guys might have really been holding Trump back and being very much a handler right then. They love to just look at me or look at Trump like we're so crazy and that they're the businessmen. I just think that that's what they're about, is making money. I don't think that they have the ability to make anything on their own. I think they were born into money. But as a person that has really built something from nothing, when I sit across the table from a Josh Kushner and he just feels so entitled to that idea, and this person has never brought anything of value other than so-called being a good venture capitalist, I have a major issue with that.
Dude, this is, I mean, he's right. It's so weird though, because like he's right about this, but then he's like reinforcing the same dynamic that has led people like Josh and Jared Kushner into positions of power. And he's simultaneously defending Donald Trump, who is very much the same kind of fucking fail son, almost identical. And this is all packaged as like an anti-elites agenda. Meanwhile, he's defending Donald Trump. It makes no fucking sense. Everything he said about Jared Kushner and Josh Kushner not putting in any effort but still reaping rewards from something that he's actually put time and effort into just because they have money is no different than my takes on capitalism across the board, because those are true. Those are true takes. So how does he arrive at the exact opposite when he's defending Donald Trump?
And it makes me feel like they weren't serving my boy Trump the way we could have, because Trump wanted nothing but the best for this country. And it doesn't...
What?
Moses stuttered. And saying God is not always going to bring the most perfect personality. A lot of times the most fake people, their job is talking and making people feel comfortable.
Yeah.
You know, and the realest people are going to make you feel uncomfortable at first.
Bro, what? That's what? There's actually more to the Kanye saga. Turns out Fox News, Tucker Carlson left out some parts from the recently aired 2-part interview between Tucker Carlson and Ye, the artist formerly known as Kanye West. Motherboard has obtained portions of the interview that were edited out of the final broadcast. These include numerous anti-Semitic sentiments from Ye, a strange and lengthy digression about fake children he claimed were planted in his house to manipulate his own children, and a statement that he is vaccinated against COVID-19. Now, that last part I find really funny. They were like, yeah, we shouldn't put the anti-Semitic stuff because he'll get in trouble, or like that we don't really need to air that sort of thing. That's fine. And we shouldn't put the fake children part because that makes him sound insane. But the funniest part is they were also like, don't let people know that he's vaccinated. So let's take a look at some of those sentiments. Here are some of the Motherboard clips. In his interview with Carlson, Ye said that Planned Parenthood founder Margaret Sanger, a known eugenics, as he put it, created Planned Parenthood with the KKK to control the Jew population.
Planned Parenthood was made by Margaret Sanger, a known eugenics, with the KKK to control the Jew population. When I say
what? Why did they? What?
A Jew, I mean the 12 lost tribes of Judah, the blood of Christ.
Oh, he's saying black people. He's referring to black people as Jews. So he's saying that, oh my God. Okay, we're going to run that again.
A known eugenics with the KKK to control the Jew population. When I say Jew,
Wait, Sanger was a legit eugenicist. Did she actually want to control the Jew population? No. You need to go further in depth in Kanye lore to understand what he's saying. What he is mentioning here when he says Jew population, he is talking about it like a black Israelite. He's saying that black people are the real Jews. That's what he's referencing here. And he's saying that Margaret Sanger created a Planned Parenthood, and she was a known eugenicist, by the way. That much is true. That was all the rage back in the day. A big chunk of scientists doesn't make it all right, by the way. But I'm just saying, like, a lot of people saw that as the new wave of science. Very hot back then. Margaret Sanger, however, wasn't just interested in like ensuring black people and the black population was controlled through abortion. That part is actually made up, for the record. She was in favor of everyone being able to have access to abortion. That part is actually true. They refilmed the Margaret Sanger part. It's here in the Tucker cut. Click. It's like 30 seconds. Just see what they recut it as.
Planned Parenthood was made by Margaret Sanger, a known eugenics, with the KKK. And I believe that as we saw ourselves as a people and not a race, then we would treat our people better. Like if you...
Okay, well, that's what they cut it as. Okay, got it. Here is the original, though.
Planned Parenthood was made by Margaret Sanger, a known eugenics, with the KKK to control the Jew population. When I say Jew, I mean the 12 lost tribes of Judah, the blood of Christ, who the people known as the race black really are. This is who our people are, the blood of Christ. This, as a Christian, is my belief.
The statement mashes up a few different claims. Sanger was indeed a racist and a eugenicist, a stance the organization has since denounced. Claims that Planned Parenthood exists to kill black infants in the womb are common across several conspiratorial spaces. Ye was also referring to the claim, unsupported by historical evidence, that black people are the real Jewish race, which is often used to promote anti-Semitism. The Southern Poverty Law Center has a broader explanation of this particular tangled claim, which is often, but not always, associated with the Black Hebrew Israelites, a movement that originated in the 19th century. A movement that has some of the best drip. For the record, just gonna put that out there. The Mortal Kombat drip is unmatched to this day, but that's besides the point. Some black Hebrew Israelite sects believe that non-black Jews are imposters or usurpers of the true Jewish identity. This in and of itself, like the black Israelites, is a non-issue across the board, even though they have had some instances of violence against against, you know, Jewish groups, Jewish people. There have been instances of like direct violence in the hands of black Israelites. But overall, it's considered like a non-issue because they are powerless, irrelevant, a tiny sect, and genuinely have zero power whatsoever. Everybody fucking clowns on them. They do have some funny takes, like I think Shakespeare is black. Like a lot of historical people throughout time were actually black, but then Louis Theroux had met black Israelites and had an in-depth conversation a long time ago. It's reactionary. It's built around here's where it comes from. Okay, this in no way, shape, or form is a way to like justify these guys' beliefs, for the record, but there have been many studies conducted on this. There's many people that have done in-depth analysis into where this kind of attitude comes from. And a big chunk of that is basically a defense mechanism for a lot of people who have been historically held back, a lot like in a way to avoid that historical intergenerational trauma and just basically make up your own history in an effort to say, hey, like this didn't happen. This horrifying legacy of chattel slavery was actually a lie. I don't want to think about it. I just want to make it seem like there was just an alternate history that has been lost now, for the record. Which is why I don't usually cover it as much or anything like that, specifically because it's like irrelevant. Anyway, so Kanye, when he says like Jews, sometimes he's talking about, Jewish people, and other times he's talking about black people. He uses both. And another aside about Jews that didn't make it to air, Ye used a strange metaphor when talking about black people judging one another, telling Carlson, thinking about us judging each other on how white we could talk would be like, a Jewish person judging another Jewish person on how good they danced or something. He paused. I mean, that's probably like a bad example, and people are going to get mad at that shit. A few moments later, he added, I probably want that
exactly
edit that
what our
out.
culture is based on. Think about us judging each other on how white we could talk would be like, a Jewish person judging another Jewish person on how good they danced or something.
By the way, ironically, that is one of the least offensive thing Kanye West has said about Jewish people in the last couple of days, which is hilarious. He's basically like, it's so weird. First of all, that example doesn't even make sense because black people acting white or code switching is done as a defense mechanism, okay? In a white supremacist system. Jewish people dancing well is not even a thing. Like, I've never even heard of that as like a stereotype or anything like that. And I don't even know how it would tie back to that same kind of like historical violence or the avoidance of said historical violence. Well, not even a thing. No, I'm saying like, is that a thing? Like, I've seen Jewish people get down. You know what I mean? Like bar mitzvahs and shit. I didn't even know that was like a specific thing. I thought that was like a white person thing across the board. But here you go. I mean, yeah. What do you mean? Hey, I mean, what do you even mean? No one thinks that. It's not everyone jokes. Only white Christian Westerners can't dance. That's it. Yeah, that's what I mean. That's the joke is that like white people can't dance. I've never heard that like Jewish people can't dance. I've never thought like that was ever even a stereotypical thing. Anyway, regardless, let's get back to it.
I mean, that's probably like a bad example when people are going to get mad at that shit. But another thing that they do, that I probably want to edit that out. They're probably not like that. Okay, so.
At another point, when complaining that his children are going to a school that celebrates Kwanzaa, Ye added, I prefer my kids knew Hanukkah than Kwanzaa. At least it will come with some financial engineering. Jesus Christ. What the fuck? Bro, that's literally Trump, dude. That is unironic. That's Trump. That's Trump. The belief that Jews control the financial system is one of the oldest and most deeply rooted anti-Semitic claims. Is unclear if that's what he meant by financial engineering, a term generally associated with the creation of exotic financial instruments.
I was biting my tongue on my political opinion because I thought it would be better for my children. And now you look up.
For the record, like when he's talking about Hanukkah versus Kwanzaa, it's obvious that he's not referencing Jews as black people. Didn't a chatter joke about this yesterday? Maybe he'll say Jews control the banks, but they do a good job. Yeah, that is what we joked about. Yeah.
My kids are going to a school that teaches black kids a complicated Kwanzaa. I prefer my kids knew Hanukkah than Kwanzaa. At least it will come with some financial engineering. Kwanzaa doesn't, so they don't teach even Christmas itself, Christ Mass.
Yom Kippur is when Jews gather and learn entertainment management. Yeah, famously. I mean, that one, right? That sentiment right there is a Felix bit. Okay, except the difference is Felix is Jewish, not XQC. I'm talking about Biederman. I know he's gonna love that shit. I think Black Israelite stuff should have never faded out of the culture. Much more interesting than his Christianity shit. I agree. It is content. If people are gonna go bananas mode, if people are gonna go batshit, at least make it entertaining. And all the like evangelical Christian shit sucks. It's so boring. It's so fucking played out. One more aside. Ye told Carlson that he was going to be the first Latino president. The statement was aired, but it was followed by something that wasn't. I trust Latinos when I work with them. he told Carlson. I trust him more than he paused. I'll be safe. Certain other businessmen, you know. Carlson did not ask which businessmen those might be. I wonder which businessmen he was talking about. Carlson's program also didn't air a strange claim from Ye that fake children had been placed in his house to manipulate his children. I mean, like actors, professional actors placed into my house to sexualize my kids, he told Carlson. He referred to the so-called son of an associate seemingly to imply the child was fake. We didn't even believe that this person was ever her son because he was way smarter than her, right? Ye's spoken frequently about living bipolar disorder and experiencing manic episodes. In 2019, he discussed how he experiences these with David Letterman telling him, when you're in this state, you're hyper paranoid about everything, everyone. This is my experience. Other people have different experiences. Everyone now is an actor. Everything's a conspiracy. Ye has repeatedly claimed on Instagram that his child, Chicago, was not permitted to see him on her birthday, something like Kim's sister, Khloe Kardashian, responded to in the comments of the post. Again, with the birthday narrative. Enough already. We all know the truth, in my opinion. Everyone's tired of it. You know exactly where your children are at all times, and you want to separate birthdays. I've seen all the texts to prove it. Also, Kanye West has joined Parler. I don't know if this is official or not.
What is Parler?
Parler is like a super far-right Nazi shithole of a website. It's like supposed to be like Twitter for Nazi pedophiles.
Is Trump in jail yet?
No. It's like Grindr for racists. Yeah. Well, I mean, Grindr is Grindr for racists. but